Previously on MaudeWorld.
Well, I do have some basilisks left. Herb, you hear the familiar hiss, and just somewhere in the back of your head, you just hear, "No!" But you push this voice aside. Herb, take your victory.
Jab it in the eye with the staff.
Well, not perfect, but I'll do.
Is there an ice cream shop?
My friend, you seem to be looking for some things of interest, yes? What can Abli come to show you? Remember where you got it? Abli's wondrous goods. Girion comes up to you, a far too wide smile on his face. Ask him if he really thinks that this sort of business is for him.
Hey Sara, do you have anything to help me sleep?
The worm runner comes to a screeching and fairly sudden stop. The tunnel is blocked. You see these creatures with their mouths wide open. They appear to be worms. There sits a dwarf, their hands glowing. Dodging out of the way of this rock and stone, you see these creatures burrowing out of the top of the ceiling, with their druid handlers right behind them, and then the creatures, these large pinkish purplish worms, their mouths open, drop down on top of you. Ladies and gentlemen, roll initiative.
No.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Balls. Did you say that they had people, yours riding them?
Yeah.
Shit. Like saddle and everything.
No, not so. It's less. Well, actually, in fairness, it's less riding, more sort of handling with sort of.
Bareback.
Yeah, and or leashes.
Yeah. When your worm is burrowing through the underground cave, sometimes it's just going to go bareback.
So, I would also just like.
Hand on it.
I would also like to take this opportunity to remind everyone that Drakensian,
Piece of shit.
that too, is completely conked out, having drunk a sleeping potion. So, to prevent Andy from just sitting there doing nothing, I have given him control of that lovable NPC, Burden. You're the worst. Oh, yeah.
I'd love to run inside and wake up Rick.
You can certainly try. So, initiatives, please, ladies and gentlemen, 25 to 20. Good.
Strong.
20 to 15. Lads.
Oh, 16. 16.
Okay, good.
That's Ladette, thank you.
I was editing.
That's what me,
I was editing the Andy one shot, and when we altered terribly on initiative, he was like, "Lads."
Lads, come on. I don't know where that's come from.
Lads.
I know where it's come from. My family, that's where that's come from. My Irish family.
People, yeah.
Yeah, lads, would you come on?
That
Our
is.
technology teacher was Irish and we used to come and go, lads! Like that, and that, yeah.
The girls
It is
would
an
do
Irish
anything.
15 to 20 we've done.
14.
14.
14.
Dexes, respectively.
16.
16.
Roll again, please, gents.
Aha! 5.
That's cocked.
Rude.
17.
So,
Fuck you!
I go before you.
And that-
Burden, if that is your name.
yeah.
Do you have Burden's character sheet over there?
Yes, I do.
More or less.
Don't worry, he doesn't have a family, so.
Oh yeah, it's very clear.
If you die.
If he dies, he dies.
10 or below.
9!
3.
Jesus.
I'll just respond to everything. It's good, right?
Yeah, like in poker.
Maybe by that time you'll have figured out if they're animals or not.
So,
What are they?
Pondering the philosophy in
So-
Thinking Man's pose.
as you ponder the philosophy, you have very little time to do so because these worms drop down from the ceiling. You can see now they are,
Great hanging worms.
yes, some anywhere between sort of 6 and 10 feet long.
Ow.
Oh,
And
How many?
they're all sort of dropping around you, surrounding your group.
How many are there?
8.
Oy.
all being ridden by a dwarf.
All were being handled by a dwarf, but
They're on them though.
no,
Oh,
the worms have dropped out of the ceiling.
so where are the dwarves? Did they drop out the ceiling as well?
Not yet.
Oh.
How many dwarfs? Sorry, I'm being thick.
8.
8
So they're
dwarves,
in-
8
Eight
worms.
dwarves, 8
in the
worms.
ceiling.
Not riding them, just standing
Just
around
Correct.
handling them.
Whispering to them.
So,
Easy there.
childish smut aside, Esther, you're up first.
Who am I?
What would you like to do?
I would like. How far away are they?
They're surrounding you.
How
That's-
many worms
so, like,
can you
but
handle? Esther?
Quite close.
Yes.
Melee range.
Yes.
16.
Right. I would like to cast Bane on 3 of them closest to us.
Very well.
Or
DC
closest
of...
to Damerus specifically, if they're just like close to all of us.
Okay, noted.
He's squishy as
Thanks,
fuck.
that's true.
But he loves worms.
DC of...
I should know this. It's 13.
13, okay. 1 succeeds, actually.
Very charismatic worms.
Yes, well, no, but just...
Some just are born with it.
Indeed. So you watch as this
As if that
sort of...
didn't take years of improv classes.
hang on.
Yes.
This,
You're a worm, yes, and
very good. So this, you see this again, this sort of familiar black spectral energy forming around these worms, around 2 of them at least. But they are all sort of crawling towards you, and you note, like, not only are they sort of their bodies aren't smooth, they're covered in small little spiky protrusions, their mouths full of just teeth, like a circular jaw, and also you notice at the back they all have stingers
on the back.
on the back side. Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, like a scorpion.
Like a scorpion, not like a bee.
No, like a scorpion.
Like another animal with a stinger. Like a platypus.
Do they have legs?
They have a poisonous
No.
barb.
Okay. Last time I thought the basilisk didn't have legs and I was wrong.
No, it's good to check. These worms do not have
in
legs.
Covered in lots and tiny little legs.
So,
Like,
let's see how many of you
Scorpion.
are there. There are 6 of you, including Milan, the driver, who is just she is looking terrified at this stage and has just like pulled out a dagger.
That's Plaza here.
Plazo is not here currently. No.
Or Shana.
Shana is up on top of the of the worm of the train of the worm runner.
The worm runner. Oh, maybe they're pissed off about the worm runner thing. They've had that patent pending.
Who knows? So these creatures are
Like-
going to. Yes, in fact, they're going to attempt to sting you.
We don't run, we slither.
So let's see. 2 on you, 1 on you, and then 3, 4, 5, 6. Hang on, 5, 6. So yeah, 2 on Ester and 2 on Burden because he looks to be the
So
most
are the
threatening.
2 on Damerus the ones that have taken Bane?
There's 1 on Damerus. The other one that has been baned is on you.
Cool.
So let's do the ones on Burden first. Stings are, that is an 18 versus AC.
Yeah, that's gonna.
Yep, and an actual 20.
No.
Can you also make 2 Constitution saving throws, please?
Maybe.
Good thing
Like the-
Burden
yeah.
doesn't have a wife.
No.
Sting in the neck.
Con saves will be 22 and 8.
Okay, so since the natural 20 was announced second, I'm going to say the 8 was for the natural 20.
That's fair.
So,
Well, it was fun playing, bud.
We never saw Burden again.
so as these two worms, like Burton just sort of like raises his crossbow, like looking around, and then he's sort of looking down, more expecting a bite attack, and then the worms come over the top. Oh boy, this is going to hurt. So that's...
Like that.
Take those worms from
7. So the first one does 9 points of piercing damage and 7 points of poison damage.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
Like
that's fine.
big weevils.
And
Are you rounding up or down?
down.
what size of that biscuit need to be?
Herb, make a nature check for me, please.
It is a big weevil. 15.
Thank you, I'll get to that.
Herb is hibernating.
Herbinating.
You then take another 9 points of piercing damage
Yep.
and 19 points of poison damage. Because that was the
Okay.
crit.
Yeah.
Fucking what?
Okay.
Goodbye.
I'm still up. Ish.
Definitely
bloody.
So that's the one on Burden. The two on Burden.
More of that, please.
Vela.
Less of that, please.
That's a 23 versus AC.
Yeah,
Can you make a Constitution saving throw,
I
please?
can do that.
You can't trust me.
Oh, cannot. 11.
Okay.
Oh no.
You take 7 points of piercing damage
Yeah.
and 10 points of poison damage.
Oh.
As this just this terrible poison pierces into your body through your veins. This is not good. Damerus, one of the creatures on you is...
Lie down.
Yeah.
Pretend to be
dead. Yeah.
That's... Yeah, no, so neither of those are going to hit. Because I presume a 12 doesn't hit your AC.
No, it's not.
So the one that is baned actually sort of like it sort of goes to sting you, and then it stings sort of almost like and like you take a step back and it embeds itself in the ground in front of you. You may make an opportunity attack if you wish.
Oh, I certainly will.
Don't fuck it up.
I actually didn't. 21.
21 hits.
Yeah.
No, this does have friends within 5 feet of it, doesn't it? Because I can trigger sneak attack as a swashbuckler. If
Yes.
we're by ourselves.
I'm afraid they're
Cool.
surrounded.
No, that's no worries. I just want to try my luck. 5 damage.
5 damage. Okay.
Shooting shot.
That is a. There, I said 2 on Ester, so. Yep, that's a modded 20 and a 23. You slash out at this creature, and like just there's a little spurt of sort of very Icarus purple blood, but seems to have done quite little comparatively speaking. Esther, that's a 20 and 23 versus AC.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Can I have you make 2 Constitution saving throws, please?
If we all get killed by worms, I'm pissed off.
13 and 12.
13 and 12. Okay. So you take a total of 16 points of piercing damage.
Bye, Esther.
6.
A lot of damage.
Oh no.
And 29 points of poison damage.
Oh, I'm fine. No, I'll be playing Shana for the
How much was the first one? How much piercing damage?
16, yes. Because I'm combining all the damage from the 2
That's
that hit her.
45 damage, no?
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
that kill you outright?
Yeah. Well, it does. Does it?
Or
Is it half your health under?
Double your health under.
All your health
Okay,
under.
No,
Yeah.
not quite.
No, it doesn't.
No.
No, it's
45. That's 5
Also,
damage.
it would be piercing and then poison. Has to be from one source.
Has to be
Yes.
from one
So it'd
source.
have to be
Okay.
50 or whatever from a direct hit.
If that had been from one source, that's only 5 short of killing me outright.
Yeah, you have the same HP that I do. 25. I'm a fighter. Damn.
Upon looking at these creatures, you got a 15 for nature, you said?
Yeah.
Again, there's another image that flashes through your mind
I've seen this before.
of a...
Has everyone died?
Purple worm.
Yeah. I've seen this movie.
These are, like, you remember stories, you remember there's a brief image of an enormous, much, much larger than any of this, worm that is very similar to these creatures, but absolutely gargantuan. Like dozens of feet long and just sort of capable of swallowing people whole in one big gulp. You've heard legends of the great purple worms, great predators of the Underdark. These appear to be similar, just a lot smaller. So the one on you, Herb,
Kills him instantly.
no, because you managed to, it only rolls a total of 10, so you sort of dodge out of the way, but you do watch as Burden's not looking good, Vela has taken a hit, Damerus is kind of like trying to hold him off, Milan is just looking terrified, and Ester is
Imploded,
yes, on the floor.
I just couldn't handle the worm.
Stop it, all of you. So on that note, Damerus.
Well.
Run.
Uh,
Run.
I don't really know what to do.
let's finish Esther off.
Yeah. No.
Meanwhile,
Misery.
meanwhile in the worm runner.
Oh, yes. That's how you meant
It's
it.
a kind
Disappointed.
Damn it,
now.
Drake.
Quick question for the party.
Yeah.
Guys,
We bought some potions recently, right?
Yeah.
Where did they get divvied up?
I have one.
Good question. I'm pretty sure I have one.
I also have
I
one.
think we all have one, don't we?
I think we did.
I
I think we
I've
bought
got-
one for each.
Individually, everyone has.
One
think so,
times
yeah.
healing potion, 2d4 plus 2.
Yeah.
Cool. So mine says.
From Tina's
okay.
tonics.
I would like to use my bonus action in that case to disengage and make a beeline to Esther whilst I'm pulling the potion out.
Okay,
To use my action to feed her the potion.
very well. Roll your potion.
It's 2d4. Right?
Plus 2.
Plus 2, yes.
Hey, it's not bad. 8. 4 lots.
Dankeschön.
8. Esther, you just... ow! You can still feel like this poison just running through your veins. You are in a great deal of pain, but you are conscious. Anything else, Damerus?
No, that is.
Okay. Button?
Sorry, I was looking at spells while you were going through the beginning. I apologise.
That's fine.
Where is Shana? I'm just
She's on
on
top of the
relatively.
roof.
She's on top of the
Shana...
roof, so she's relatively safe position at the moment. And we're all getting the shit kicked out of us. Sorry, it was there for that bit. I've got 2 on me right now, don't I?
Yes.
Excellent. I lied. That's not excellent. I will. Well, they're in melee range, aren't they? So
Yep.
I'm going to take out a rapier.
Yep.
And I will stab at one. But first, I will designate it my Slayer's Prey
Okay.
for my bonus action.
Very well.
Oh.
Burden, for those keeping track, is of the Monster Hunter Ranger
That'll
variety.
do it. That's a 24.
24 hits.
Okay, so I now get to do extra damage. I love it.
I love it too.
I hate it.
So it takes 13 damage.
13 damage.
So I stab at it and hope,
This creature just sort of like flails back in pain, taking 13 points of damage. Anything else?
that's my bonus, and I think no, I'm good.
Okay. So at this point, let's see. Can I have... Yes, can I have everyone make a wisdom saving throw, please?
It's okay. It's okay, Damerus will revive you.
16.
From the north.
14.
14.
12.
12.
5.
5.
Oh.
15.
15. So, sorry, just doing some quick maths. 14, 15, 16.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, right. So, the two halflings.
Nope.
You feel, the halfling and the dwarf. Excuse me. You feel your bodies begin, like, you try to move, and you're stuck.
I might as well stay in bed.
And the two of you are both paralyzed.
By what?
You can't tell, but the three of you sort of feel a similar sensation, like taking hold of you. You look up, and you see the druids up above in the alcoves, kind of like holding on, sort of to something with one hand, and then with their other hand, something is moving, and there you see
hanging from the ceiling.
they're sort of they're in sort of the tunnels that were dug, sort of just up above the ceiling.
Right.
And all of their hands are glowing with druidic energy.
Next week on MaudeWorld, Dickensian recruits new heroes.
Yeah. Dickensian wakes up on a train to find everyone dead.
Well, that was a hell of a nightmare.
Yeah.
And the other two against the two of you that didn't cast Hold Person.
We're going to eat your brains.
Yeah.
They, in fact, actually,
In fact, actually, they will just eat you.
Actually, no. You watch the two. The two of them.
Perform a ballet.
Death.
They let go, and they sort of swinging basically, and manage to land on top of the worm runner itself. One of them does take damage because they did not, and they're fallen prone. See, you're on the floor, so you probably couldn't see from this angle, but Damerus and Vela, make perception checks, please.
Disadvantage.
You do.
Nine.
9.
That's not terrible. Numbers.
They sneak in and just start killing
18.
me.
18. Yeah. Okay.
Ah.
Damerus, you watch and you see, you can see their dwarven figures. And you look up and for a brief second, you make eye contact with one of the ones atop the worm runner. He looks familiar. You see the familiar face of the druidic father of the family whom you encountered previously. He just sort of like looking down at your predicament, a broad smile on his face, and you just watch as his mouth begins to elongate, his whole body begins to shift, and you watch as his body sort of just elongates up and up and up, and you eventually are sort of taken aback by this rather grotesque process as you look up and you see an enormous swaying and hissing snake, like standing reaching the roof of the tunnel from the top of the worm runner. This is an enormous serpent.
How can they possibly be here? Did they walk?
Yes.
Well, you have no idea. That, or they commune with nature and the beast and can ride the giant worms.
Yeah.
Because the runner is fast, and we left them behind.
We did, yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Do you?
You know when you were preaching about the hole and how we should probably have killed them?
Once again, the hole has delivered them.
Technically,
One hole into another.
Technically, at this point, you were the one who was preaching about killing them.
Oh, yeah. I was telling you.
Yeah, you guys were all up.
Should have killed him.
Alright, fine.
That'll be a very lovely consequence when you're dead.
Yes.
Well, I was right. We should have killed them.
So at this point,
Everyone will agree with me.
Milan is just has just taken out a dagger and is just like looking around, terrified, going, "What do we do? What do we do?" And she just takes
Kill him.
a swipe at one of the worms, but unfortunately, it just clinks her, like sort of catches one of the small little spikes on its body and moves off harmlessly. Herb, you are paralyzed. Please make a wisdom saving throw.
Right.
So what's your next character going to be?
15.
No, 16.
16. You are able to shrug the effect off. You look up and you can see the source of this druidic magic up above you. But that unfortunately is your turn.
Get his face.
Okay.
Vela, you're up. Esther, you're on deck.
Okay, I am going to get my bear spirit totem to come out.
Okay.
So that's 8 temporary hit points for everyone.
8 temporary hit points.
Plus strength, advantage on strength checks and saving throws.
So kicking your children in the face doesn't look so bad now, does it?
I always said we should kill him. I wanted to kill them all, family included.
And
Technically, I said I didn't mind either way.
That's fair.
can I?
I have very different personalities sometimes.
I remember that one.
How? The snake that's on top of the worm runner.
Yes.
How far away is he?
From your angle, I'd say about 20 feet.
But he's on top of the worm runner.
20, 25 feet. Yeah, he's on top of the, specifically he's on top of the crates.
Right.
Oh, fuck.
How close is that to the roof?
Yeah.
He's sort of like stretched up, reaching the roof. Basically, it's a fucking big snake.
Didn't you put more
Okay.
stuff on them?
So I wanted to cast Entangle, but it needs to come out of the ground. So I'm wondering if I can cast it from the ceiling.
I will allow
him?
it to come out of the ceiling.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
That's what I want to do. So a strength saving throw is required, I believe.
Strength saving throw with a DC of.
DC of.
It's an action, but it means you have.
on their turn.
Do you know this? Hang on.
No, dodge is. I think you get them
You-
disadvantage on attack rolls against you.
That is
Or dodge
correct.
it, but it uses your action.
I take
But
that
as a
as
monk,
a
you can do it as a bonus.
bonus.
Yeah. So it just means that they have disadvantage against you for the next turn.
Sorry, it hasn't been calculated. 14.
14, natural 20. So,
No, it would have been so cool.
So you watch as Vela, as you sort of stretch up your hand. It glows with a similar druidic light, and you watch as just vines sort of start to almost like roots, really, start to come out of the ceiling, trying to wrap itself around this giant snake. But it just shrugs it off, moving and bending around. It's easily able to dodge out of the way of this spell, I'm afraid.
Annoying. No, that's it.
That's it.
me
Okay,
done.
very well. Esther, you're up.
Okay.
You are currently
You're-
prone on the floor.
You're paralysed, aren't you?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Burden is paralysed.
Burden is paralysed still. How far is Burden away from me?
You're all pretty well clumped up, so I'd say you're all pretty much at this stage backed against the cave-in,
Okay.
with the worms surrounding you in a semicircle.
Okay.
8 of them, is there?
I want to scoot over to Burden, slap a hand on him, cast lesser restoration for my action.
Burden feels like
Lesser restoration.
Yeah. So restored, but only less.
Esther.
Restoration.
Restoration.
Lesser
Hey!
Ah.
Yes. Very good.
Very good.
Very good. And I want to yeah, just I don't know, get in front of him between the two worms, and like hold my mace, be like, "Why yada."
Very well. I've got more health than you do, lass.
not for long. So at this
Oh
point,
no.
She just stood in front of me.
yeah, I know. So at this point, it's now the worm's turn.
But what if it wasn't?
I like this.
Esther,
What if we skip on this?
Esther,
the
can
worm's
you? Is Bane a concentration spell?
Yeah, that would have gone.
Cool. Just checking. So.
I'm saying yes, the worm has turned.
So. Let's see. You're standing in front of Burden. So. Let's see. 2.
So itchy.
Right. So this time it's going to be 1 on everyone, but 2 on Ester.
Although I might be the
Or
one who
initially, we'll
survives.
see actually,
might
and then
be.
2 on
Let's get to the
Vela.
cockpit and just go.
I'll be a paladin. I'll take paladin.
So let's go around the. In fact, let's do it on Ester first. So, and 1 on Esther.
Well, you know,
All on
if she's
Esther.
up for it.
Hey Esther. Like so, this one
She's 16.
actually, as you as you step, so this one as it sort of lunges forward, it seemed like it was actually going for Burden, but you sort of stepped in front and like sort of instinctively bashed away with your shield. And it like sort of falls to the side slightly, leaving it exposed. Do you want to make an attack of opportunity?
Yeah.
Epic.
What? Yeah. Boom.
Make an attack with your mace.
Can I bop it on the worm nose?
say, boy. No way you're bothering me.
Well,
Okay.
I do appear to be some sort of stereotype.
20 to hit.
20 does hit.
Yes.
I
Oh,
am delighted and very surprised to say that that's 8 damage.
8 damage, very well.
Yes, girl.
That is very good.
give her 8 damage too.
Oh.
But the other one is going to go for you.
Esther.
That's 15 versus AC.
No.
No, your AC is 16, I believe. Yep, so this one, again, you're able to sort of get your shield up in time as it just... and you see its jaws are sort of like wrapping around almost your entire buckler, dripping, just disgusting and foul-smelling saliva all over it. One is going to go for... is going to sort of come around the side of it and going to go for Burden.
Is it the one I stabbed at?
Yes.
Ah, first.
That's Mother of God. Does Burden want to make an attack of opportunity?
Oh, yes, he would.
Am I?
Yeah, these worms are just sort of crawling over each other, trying to get to their intended prey.
20, not that.
Yep, that hits.
How about 11 damage?
11 damage.
Stick 'em up, sir.
Bad worm.
You're first round.
Fancy, see?
See?
Okay. So that one's not looking too good. 2, however, on Vela. That's a 17 versus AC.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna roll a monk character.
As it bites down on you, you
yeah,
take 8 points of piercing damage.
Switching up, say.
Fancy
One on the
talk,
nose.
But there's no poison with this.
Oh, good.
Thank God. With this. The other one.
However.
This one, you think?
Seriously, dice? Hey, Vela, do you want to make an attack of opportunity? As I rolled the 3rd one out of 4 attacks.
Amazing.
It's not
Oh.
just me who rolls points.
13 probably doesn't hit though.
13 does not hit, sadly. It just
Feels like this is
whiff.
going like
bounces off
a
this
definite
creature's
PPK
hard hide as you're
fight.
sort of trying to get the other one off you.
It's
Damerus.
30-70.
Damn!
That is... that's only a 10 versus AC. No, dodges out of the way. Herb. That's Mother of God. That's only 9. So again, you dodge out of the way. These worms, and then 1, however, on on also gets a natural 1.
That seems statistically improbable.
Yes, it does. 4 out of 8.
This is great.
However, she,
Sizzling us just one round previous.
however, she just swings wide.
This is what those 220s I rolled before the session were for.
Ah.
This to happen.
Right.
Forget what I
They're all
said
going
about
for you now.
I rolled 4 dice before we started and I got natural 20, 11, 11.
That's better than all the rest of your rolls combined.
Yes.
So, Burden, it's your turn.
Sweet. But on after Damerus.
Yes, Damerus, it's your turn. I can't read my initiative order.
Remind me, what's the captain's name again? The driver?
Milan.
Milan. I, just kind of looking around, surveying things, will yell to her. Milan, we need to maybe try and move this worm runner back slightly. And I'm going to try and carve a path, essentially. I'm going to try and just take one on that's nearest her to
Okay.
break this surrounded circle.
Very well. Make an attack roll.
Ooh. Ah.
Oh,
That was an 11. But roll again.
Yes.
11 legendary.
That's cold.
It's not.
It's the same though.
Chances
So
of that?
that is a 21.
21 hits.
Wonderful. Is this one considered occupied by the other combatant on our team next to me?
Yeah, I mean, an ally is within 5 feet, so yeah, I will, yes.
Hang on, who's occupied by the worm?
It just needs to get sneak damage. On the
So
worm.
that's 6 slashing damage to
Okay.
start. And that's another 2d6. Another 7.
Okay.
So 11.
13.
13 numbers.
Yes. Numbers, how do they work? So you're just you come up beside Balan, stab at it, sort of almost from over her shoulder, her being a gnome, and the creature hisses back, but is still looking pretty hale. Now it is Burden's turn.
Sweet. I'm gonna cast Hunter's Mark as a bonus action on the one that has my Slayer's Prey already on it.
Yep. This is why I don't let Andy do things.
Because fuck that one.
Yep.
And I'm gonna stab at it.
If Burden
17?
dies, do we still get paid?
Sorry?
17?
17
Take
hits.
the money and go home. Let the bastards
Really?
roam free.
I got 3 dice and I rolled 7 total and then 10 damage.
10 damage, okay.
I rolled a 1 and then a 1 for my 2d6 extra damage.
Suck.
Quiet you!
Ooh, Burden, boo.
You're not my grandfather. Burden just sort of taking his rapier out and is like slashing at it, and like you can see several cuts on the one that Burden is fighting, but it's looking the worst out of several worms that are still pretty damn healthy.
And you're also playing the world.
That's why we've all my Burden dice.
So
What Maud actually told me is I've died.
I did tell him that.
Yeah.
So at this point, can I have everyone make a wisdom saving throw, please?
Again, really?
These goddamn druids in this goddamn tunnel.
Yes.
22.
I'm okay.
That's good. 5 again.
22.
16.
16.
Modded 20.
Mod 20.
Also mono 20.
So
It matters not what character I play.
even Milan, everybody but Burden manages to resist.
Stupid bird.
Manages to resist the effect.
Nominative determination.
Manages to resist the effect, and don't you use statistics on this show, boy.
So proud of himself.
So Burden again feels his muscles just lock up as he's drawing his rapier back. The rest of you shrug off these attacks. And so at this point, you just hear this enormous snake from up above disappears from behind the boxes, and then from up above. You just hear no! However...
Yes.
Yes.
Will you stop doing that?
Dickensian wakes up to be eaten by a giant snake.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure I shut that door.
Yeah. Snakes don't have hands.
It's the last door I have.
That's you.
Snakes don't have hands.
Roll a level 1. Okay, so...
Oh.
You hear... from up above...
Your grave.
Dice falling.
Dice falling. Everyone
Everybody
dies. You just hear this screaming shout of no!
Oh damn,
Oh.
we did eat someone.
Oh well.
This just got
Oh,
dark.
Could be your grandson.
I know it's not my lazy ass. Fat lazy grandson.
It was a feminine voice that did shout no.
Yeah,
Maybe it
that's
was.
Could be your grandson.
Okay.
Or the lady in charge of keeping our animals asleep.
Oh no.
No, they're not animals.
So,
Okay, the monster
Useless.
This is true.
and then Yeah, that's what the other person would do. Okay, so let's see. At this point, it's Milan's turn.
Something up. 5 more minutes.
No.
You're out, mate, for another hour at least.
Just sleeping.
So no, Milan turns to you and goes, "Move it! How?
Backwards, maybe?
I can't push it."
What? I wasn't suggesting that she push it.
She doesn't know that. She's panicked out of her mind right now.
She is a foolish
Worst
gnome.
pilot ever.
Fucking
She's a
gnomes.
pilot, not a fighter. Also, you guys aren't exactly incredibly brave around these overwhelming odds
Drag
either.
these things.
Woo! Being very brave. We're fighting.
Yeah.
I'd sort of died. I'm still
Died
fighting.
once.
I'm sleeping. I'm that brave. I care not for your odds.
Well done, Dracantian. The arguably the most heroically inclined of the entire party.
In my dreams, I'm a hero.
I
That's
heard
my
if your friends die in your
died.
dream, they die for real.
No.
Welcome to
terrifying.
MaudeWorld.
Just wake up. I had the most terrible dream. You all died, but where is everyone?
Surrounded by skulls on the sofa next to you.
Why is there a cracked shield in the middle of this? Milan does actually manage to take a swipe at one of the worms and give it a slight cut across its brow, but not doing much. Herb, you're up. Fella, you're on deck.
I'm gonna punch it, but with a staff.
Staff
Yeah,
pop.
23.
23
Take
hits.
with staff.
Fuck yeah.
Staff, yeah.
Yes.
8.
Excuse me.
8 points of damage.
Staff damage.
Okay.
Does it still have poison on it? Basilic's poison.
No, definitely not. It definitely would have worn off overnight.
I'm gonna flurry of blows. Do 2 unarmed strikes.
Do it now.
Go ahead.
23.
23 hits.
6 damage. 24.
24 also hits.
6 damage.
Okay. You sort of engaging this large creature, which, even though you recognise as being very young, is still very large. Which again, you just get that image of that enormous adult one in your mind. But then you manage to deliver several blows to it. It reels back. There's no sort of external signs of damage given your bludgeons, but it looks hurt. Vela, you're up. Ester, you're on deck.
Okay, I would like to use my face step ability to get me over to where I saw the snake guy go.
Okay.
Bam.
Does your spring face step have another effect?
No. If I want to, I can send somebody else, but I'm just going to send myself.
Fine. You guys watch as Vela sort of starts moving her hands, and then with a sort of a puff of sort of light green yellowish light and a oddly sharp smell of flowering blossoms, you land on the roof of the worm runner, and you see 2 things. First, you see the hatch is open, and second, you see that this enormous constrictor snake has Shana in its coils. You can just about make out the top of her head as its body is wrapped several times around her and is squeezing the life from her.
Okay, right. I would like to just run up and whack the snake with my quarterstaff.
Okay, make an attack roll.
Like over! Oh. 14?
14.
No, 13, sorry.
13 does hit.
Hooray!
It's not that hard to hit, but it's just
That's good.
because it's a big fucking snake.
6 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
Had enough of these goddamn snakes on this goddamn train.
I didn't even think about
There
that.
we go.
Now the whole story is ruined. Okay, so you whack it, and it hisses, and then turns to face you.
Burden just becomes
How much health you got left?
Um,
Oh, you're on
Not
save.
very, no.
Esther, you're up.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're
I'm
up.
up.
Yep.
You are correct.
Yep.
Right.
Burden is paralysed.
Cool.
I'm buffering.
I'm gonna do the same trick again. Jump in front of him and flail with my mace.
Okay.
Mace flail.
Technically, your mace with your mace, you flail with a flail.
Quite you.
That's fair.
15.
15. That does hit.
It does hit.
Yes.
I
Just.
should flail with maces more often. Be damned what they say. 6.
6 points of damage. Okay.
They all just look fine.
apart from the one I've been hitting.
Damn.
Yeah, like they look hurt, but
It was a good looking worm.
Damn.
so to speak. They look like most of them have taken some hits, but they all look, with the exception of the one on Burden, most of them have looked reasonable.
Oh, lordy.
Ester, anything else?
No.
Okay, so it's now the worm's turn.
Hi.
So, let's see.
Insta kill.
I feel kind of bad that I'm not in this fight.
Oh, you finally feel that, huh?
Classic Murray.
You're the worst.
You made your choice.
I did make my choice. I stick by it. Oh.
You're asleep, you don't know.
So, Esther, that is
Just tell me how.
that is 16 versus AC.
Just hits.
It's okay. So, you
Good news is they probably just want to take you all prisoner.
you take 12 points of piercing damage. As this one worm leaps from the side, biting into your side. Are you still up?
Ow. Yes.
Correct. Okay. So, given that you've been causing so much damage, the second one is going to go for you.
That's great.
That's a natural 20.
Oh.
Oh dear.
Oh, no.
Rot roll.
That's 15 points of piercing damage.
I believe the phrase is hoot bleh.
So that's 2. The next one is going to go for Burden, who is currently paralysed, and therefore they have advantage, and if it hits, it's an auto-crit.
I said,
Yeah, that's going to hit. So...
Ow.
No, paralysed. So it's just...
I didn't really do that.
Oh dear. You take 19 points of piercing damage.
Well, down goes Burden.
Okay.
A lot of damage.
I fall over like a statue.
Still
It's like,
paralysed.
I like to say, like, I mean, it's whole person, isn't it?
Yeah.
So in which case the magic is now holding me up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pretty much.
that's grim.
Right?
That mean the others don't know you're down.
Yes, he just had, see no change.
Okay.
Attacking your
Okay.
yeah.
So no, you're there. So there's only you and
That's it.
Milan. So yes, 2 of them on you, 2 of them on you, Herb, and 1 on Milan. So Damerus, that's 18 versus AC.
That's it.
That's 11 points of piercing damage.
Okay, and that's all those temporary hit points on some of my health.
Oh, I'm glad you still had those.
Yeah.
Second,
So did I, with 19 damage.
Sorry, what was that?
Modded 20.
Yes. What was the damage again for that first one?
that was 11,
11. Cool.
and then an additional 8 as the second one bites you.
How you doing, bud?
Doing maths and another 8.
Correct.
Cool. I'm blooded.
You're still up.
Yeah.
Herb, on you.
I'm still in double digits.
That was close. That is 14 versus AC.
No.
No, so then in fact, these 2 actually sort of go to dive at you, sort of both from, like 2 from one side. You just take a step back and they kind of just sort of land in the spot where you were. And
Stupid worms.
Yeah, you
You
tell
lost your accent for that one.
That was just me.
and you watch as Milan is kind of like just like is just trying to sort of like swipe her dagger at the one that's coming for her, and then it jumps at her and like forces her to the ground as you watch as as consciousness leaves her as it jumps on top of her. So Damerus.
well.
Let's see. There are 3 of your companions down. It's just you and Herb against 8 worms.
Literally
Wait,
have.
is Vela down as well?
No, Vela's up.
I've
Vela's
chased the
teleported
snake
up.
Bounced
down.
away.
I have nothing to help people with. I
So it's
have
8
no
snakes
potions.
and me and Damerus.
From your
I would-
perspective, Burden is still up.
Yes. I
Because you
would
Correct.
like to move. Well, yes, I'll disengage and move over to Herb. And attack the one that Herb has been attacking.
Okay.
Come on.
Go ahead and make your attack.
Are they all
rolls.
still alive?
Yeah.
I would get sneak attack from Herb being there.
Correct.
Cool.
Oh, sneaky fuck.
It's a 16.
16 hits.
Oh.
Kill it. Kill it.
5.
Let's take one of them with you.
8 points of slashing damage with a further 6 of sneak attack damage.
Okay. This one is also bleeding from multiple wounds. It's not looking good, but it's still up.
Okay.
Burden,
Hello.
make a death save.
No.
Good to know.
Oh no.
Kill one of Maud's favourite NPCs.
We've been nothing but a dick to.
Yeah.
And then we got
Again,
it
you
killed.
have. I was fine.
I've been nice to them.
and I'm asleep.
Yes, you are.
And you put Burden in my hands, and now I'm gonna kill him.
I made my choice. It's what I get for letting my players have fun, I suppose.
How dare you?
Yes, I know.
I could have.
Let all of us have fun.
Quiet,
Only
you.
Only the ones who are still alive.
This was a triumph. I'm making a note here. Huge success.
This could be the second TPK of
Could be.
MaudeWorld.
Yeah.
What? I didn't kill you guys in a.
Also murdered.
I didn't TPK you guys in a
Burden
previous
die last
one
time,
shot
yeah.
that we played off camera. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's crazy.
We've got to Drakensian to bring our bodies back to the sails.
Right. So news. Everyone died. I need 4 new friends.
Also, where's my dinner?
Also, I'll take all the gold because the job was done.
If you can drag that many crates back all the way to Peakstock, mate, you're welcome to try.
I'm lovable. I'll get friends.
So,
Albie's got some wondrous
Vela.
items I hear.
Vela,
Wondrous, wondrous.
Vela, you watch as, like, you can just hear as this enormous snake is sort of like, it's watching you, but, and you just hear sort of in its claws,
Damn it!
and it's just looking at you, hatred in its eyes, its enormous fangs bared. Just in more. Just in more.
Why do we keep doing that?
Indeed. Why indeed? At this point,
Your friends are dying. Gavan the Gravekeeper is pleased.
It's because I said 11 blessings.
Exactly.
and I rolled the d12, and it was Gavan's blessing that
And
you
he
didn't
did
get.
say the world rumbled. Like, and then what happened? We came, there was a
Oh
cave.
no, it's all my fault.
Okay, so at this point, several more of the rest of the druids actually drop down from their holes in the ceiling, again aiming to land on the worm runner. They all succeed technically, but a couple of them do fail the dex checks and do take some damage. But several of them others land on top, and one of them steps forward and goes Duran Dukadash da Rida Bodak, which Damerus you don't understand, but Herb does. This is Dwarvish.
Kill them
He
all.
and this rip, tear, kill. No, he stands there saying, "Lay down your arms and save yourself further pain."
Oh wait, it's just Damerus.
Yeah, I'm just looking
it's
to
the
you
two
like
of
I
you.
can't understand
These
this guy.
several druids have just landed on top of the worm runner, and all the worms are still alive.
I translate to Damerus. They want us to surrender.
And what do you suggest we do?
Do you think we can take them?
Maybe not this many, just the two of us.
I sort of raise a hand in sort of supplication and say, please remember we showed you and your family mercy and left you to be. We ask you do the same here.
This dwarf kind of just turns, like sort of turns his head in almost a dog-like motion.
A bitch.
Like apparently not knowing what you're talking about. You
don't recognise this.
You don't recognise this any of the dwarves that you can currently see.
Fuck them.
I mean, we can try. But we probably will die if we try and fight our way out of this.
Ooh. How about in return?
At this point, so I'm going to say that's your turn.
6 seconds to be fair.
Vela, you would have heard this foreign language, and this snake is now just, again, it's like looming over you, seemingly ready to attack. What would you like to do?
Do it.
Is it? It's a bonus action to wild shape? Or
What circle are you? Shepherd. It's
Yeah.
an action.
it's an action.
It's a regular action.
Okay, cool. I would like to turn into a constrictor snake.
Okay.
Fucking snakes.
What does your constrictor snake look like?
It's like really bright green, like cut grass, and quite pretty.
Okay, so Vela, you transform into this
Really long eyelashes.
which is odd because I'm pretty sure snakes don't have eyelashes.
Mine does.
No, yours can
On
certainly.
both sets of eyelids.
Horizontal
Yes.
line.
Oh
Yes,
no!
please. I need that. I need that so much. Yes.
Disqualified for unnecessary grossness. No, but that's a good idea. Anyway,
Snakes have 4 eyelids, sue me.
Okay.
It'd be really
So-
uncomfortable blinking with that many lashes.
again, I'm pretty sure they don't blink. This is beside the point. So,
do,
Vela,
4
you
eyelids. Double blink.
you transform into this constrictor serpent, this bright green, in contrast, smaller than the creature you see before you, and in contrast to its much larger sort of brown mixture of mottled brown and grey. You're probably about what size are you? Are you a medium,
Large
creature? Large creature. So I'd say you're probably about somewhere between 10, 12, 13 feet long. This one is probably double that at least.
Oh damn.
And thicker.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
Checking.
yeah.
Cool. I want to try and like slither right up, so I'm like right in his face,
Okay.
and try and look as menacing as possible while also looking really fucking cute.
That is your brand. Make an intimidation check with disadvantage.
Oh.
You get to keep your own charisma.
2 10s. Well then.
Disadvantage.
Okay, so it's an 11.
11. Okay. Good to know.
I maintain. Dinner.
Esther,
Yes.
can you make a death save, please?
Yes.
I don't know if I should keep fighting.
What did you roll?
7.
Okay, that's one failure.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
Thanks for your support.
You're welcome. Hey, you want to go see Gavan anyway? He's your boy.
Bye, guys.
The worms are like just apparently sort of like they rear up. Their rear stingers, sort of holding them towards the two of you.
Go out in a blaze of glory.
Man with a walking stick.
Yeah.
Would not deprive an older man of his walking stick.
At this point, the dwarf that spoke previously says again, He says, "Don't let your friends die for nothing."
He's pretty serious. Drop my staff and say, we'll trade you the 2 assholes in the train.
3 assholes. 3 assholes.
3. Oh no, that's him and 2, not you.
Oh, okay.
Him and his 2 buddies.
Oh, okay.
But if you eat the fat one,
I regret taking you from that home.
So at this point,
Not a bad luck.
oh no, taking all the creatures, yeah.
so you drop your weapons. Okay.
Yeah,
We'll,
The people that have enslaved your creatures are inside the train, unpunished.
I will sheath my weapons and yell, Vela, if you're still here, they want us to surrender.
Okay. We'll get to their response momentarily. Vela, what do you do? We're sort of... Technically we're still in initiative, but we're this is sort of pseudo outfit.
If we're not fighting, I'm going to back off a little bit, but I'm not. I'm going to make sure I maintain eye contact with this guy.
Okay. Very well. Burden. Can you make a death save for me,
What's
please?
burden on though?
15, success.
That's 2 successes, I believe.
1 failure,
One
1
failure,
success.
one
Just to get a fail each.
So, at this point, the dwarf, again, says in Dwarven, seeing that you're sort of the communicator, like just points to your left, and says, "Up against the wall, face it."
I say in Dwarven, we will follow your commands. Please allow me to help my dying friend here. I have a healing potion in my robes. Would you allow me to give it to her before she dies, please?
Make a persuasion check.
Oh, sorry, Esther, you're dead. 8.
8.
It's a 4, I think.
Oh.
It's a shit dice.
The dwarf barks orders to a couple of the others, telling them to climb down, saying, "We will deal with the fallen. They are still needed. Face the wall now."
Thank you, sir. You know the position, Damerus.
Right, okay. I'm just very kind of sheepishly looking at these dwarves and the worm still, and I will stand against that wall.
So at this point, so the two of you stand against the wall. Vela, you're still in Constrictor Serpent form?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this Serpent, Buzz. I said Buzz. This Constrictor Serpent begins sort of uncoiling itself, and you hear pff, and you see Shana's form heavily bruised on the floor. This Serpent like looms over you, like its teeth bared again, and you see behind you a couple of the other druids. Like one moves over to Shana, and one his hands begin to glow, and then he begins to speak in a language that you actually understand.
What?
Druidic.
Or
Druidic.
Oh.
Oh.
Whatever.
So
Goddamn snakes.
so
Parcel tongue.
it says that this dwarven druid turns to the larger snake and says, "What shall we do with this one?"
Kill this man.
That's
Enemies of the spare, beware.
now you're just mixing up your Voldemort references. And you understand that, and in fact, actually, yes, you would. You would understand it. It's kind of talking to both of you, and the largest snake says to you, "Drop your form. Surrender."
Okay. I will.
Okay.
That's the noise.
Plop. So I will say that these druids, they come down, they stabilize the dying. So, Burden, Ester.
Except Burden.
Burden.
Kicking the shit out of him.
Let this be a lesson to you.
Burden, Ester, you are both stable but unconscious.
That seems fair.
Drake. Sorry, not Drake. Damerus. Double D. Damerus and Herb. You feel
Embarrassed.
embarrassed, yes, but you also feel vines begin to creep up your legs,
Oh dear.
and like
Escalated.
At
just
least it's not the worms.
they kind of they sort of stop at your thighs, but these vines are very clearly sort of holding you down.
Who chose poorly?
It's this or death.
Yeah.
I choose death.
What if it's this then death?
Oh.
One more thing.
Well, we're out of cake.
The up on top of the worm runner Vela, the dwarf sort of points down towards the worm runner ladder and says, "Badach, Dago."
This isn't dwarven.
Yeah.
Presumably he wants me to go
Doggo.
down the ladder. What about her? I say it again in Sylvan.
We will deal with her. You move down now.
Okay.
And you can
Okay.
see that although she is heavily bruised, you do see
She is breathing.
she is breathing. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'll go down the ladder.
Okay.
He's breathing.
Yeah, I realised that halfway through, and I was hoping no one would point it out.
You were foolish.
With this group, yes, I was.
If it wasn't us, it would be the internet.
Exactly.
Speaking to it.
That's true. No one watches.
Wow.
Not you, Liz. Not you, Jay. Thanks. Thanks for being here.
It's funny because it's sort of true. So, our audience aside, so Vela, you do you join Damerus and her?
Yeah, I'll adopt the position.
Okay. You assume the position again. You feel these vines crawling up your legs, and
Didn't even have to use a spell slot.
time passes.
Damn.
Aww.
And you're sort of just standing there. You're aware, three of you are aware of movement behind you, but obviously you're facing the wall, so you can sort of look over your shoulders somewhat, but your bodies are somewhat restricted in their movement. You can see out of the corner of your eye, you see Ester being tied to a pole, sort of hung, sort of like so,
On a spit.
Yeah.
sort of, yeah, like Han Solo on Endor style, basically.
Yeah.
You're aware of movement throughout the train. Some time passes, but you also see a still snoring Drakensian being tied up, and
You just see a smirk.
You see.
I've never been happier.
This is the best sleep we've had.
Thank you, Big Cheese.
You're the best. Yes, I will have a third breakfast.
If you insist.
Sunny side up, please.
You see the you can sort of make out the you in particular, Bella, can hear and make out the sounds of this enormous constrictor serpent still moving throughout the area, and the three of you do hear. In fact, yes, you hear not in again. The two of you do not understand this, but. Herb, you do hear one of the druids you spoke to previously, and speaking in Dwarven with another voice, and the second voice, the second
Not
voice,
see that coming.
the second voice says, "So, I trust that this is all in order."
Oh.
I'm gonna kill you, Garion, you piece of little tiny dwarven shit.
I thought you said you had dealt with them.
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
So I guess it's
Yeah,
just
you hear
dwarvish, and I hear the word Girion. I turn to
And
Bella.
you would still hear, you would
Yeah.
recognise Girion's voice even if you don't hear what he's
I
saying.
turn around to Bella and in Elvish say that fucking bastard.
And you says and says, "Wonderful. Well, I'm glad that our business could be concluded. You may leave." And the druid says, "Oh no. I'm sorry? The serpent demands the sacrifice of all of you." And then you just hear a what? No!
Yeah, think about me while you die.
And
Again, you lost your accent.
Look at my exposed ass.
Smoke blowing in the breeze.
Sir, it's not required or wise to be naked.
what do you know? So, I will say this for the sake of brevity. You hear more movement. You are aware of your friends and your enemies being tied up. And over the course of the next... Drakensian is still asleep.
I'm never living this down.
No.
You're gonna just wake up in a cage over like a pit of lava or something. Like, this is the train.
Eventually,
The
again,
fuck did you guys do?
I will say for the sake of brevity, the three of you do eventually hear and feel very sharp blows to the backs of your heads,
Damn it.
and you are knocked unconscious.
It's fair.
Time passes.
Indeed. So good news, Andy. You can now play Drakensian again.
Yay!
So Burden's dead.
This is Burden's character sheet if you want it.
Wonderful. So, Drakensian,
Yeah.
you
I'm presumably no longer exhausted.
technically yes, but you wake up. You are gagged.
Right.
You're
Did you think you were eating a sandwich like you were and then you wake up and
Just like sodden.
This is toast.
you are gagged. Your clothes have been replaced.
Rude. No clothes.
No, you're not naked, but you find yourself dressed in rags, essentially. Your hands and your feet are tied to a pole with very thick, coarse rope.
Am I hanging or am I sat?
You're hanging. You're being carried.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
You can look around and you can vaguely make out you are in a dark tunnel. You can look and you can see dwarves. In fact,
Can I?
Yeah.
I've got no dark vision in my perception. It's not good.
no, but it's not. In fact, no, it would be darkness. But in fact, make a perception check for me with disadvantage.
With disadvantage.
You said it yourself, you have no dark vision.
Yep, that's fair. Well, I rolled a 7 and a 1, which became a 14, so I will take the 7 and have a 6.
6. Wonderful. No.
Where's my harness? Oh, I had that made.
You feel a blow to... No, you just feel a blow to your head and unconsciousness.
Yeah. It's like, shut up!
Pretty much.
God damn it.
So, can I have everyone
Roll new character.
Give me
make
a character.
a Constitution saving throw, please?
Yay!
Yay!
It's actually good to roll a 1 for me. That's not...
That was so nearly a crit
But
fail.
it's not really good. It's just...
It's better than
it
a
just-
2.
That's almost
True,
Like,
but
can
as
we roll
in,
the 1?
but as in, like, it doesn't change the result of the next roll.
No.
It just... Yeah.
19.
19.
12.
12.
21.
21.
4.
4.
5.
Wonderful. Sorry, Alex, can you just make sure you're sort of shot?
Yeah.
Here's.
Good. Sorry, just checking. So, Herb,
Hello.
you have... You
One.
all...
New message.
You
You
all
have email.
vaguely dream, or you think you do. You all, over the course of the next period of time, none of which you are not certain, you get vague, you all, at one point or another, sort of come back to consciousness briefly, and you're able to sort of look around in various areas before you are inevitably knocked unconscious again. You see various places, dark tunnels, mountainsides, forests. You are aware of the cold. You are aware of people talking, often in languages you don't comprehend. Sometimes, though, you do. And you all vaguely have dreams and images come to you of snakes, of mountains, of everything that has happened to you over the past several days. And eventually, Herb, you come to consciousness. You are most certainly not where you once were. You are actually still dressed in your same clothes. You look around and
He's just an old man. Not really wearing much anyway.
Still!
you are,
It's worse than the
but
rags.
you
so-
have your clothes, and that is it. Everything else has been confiscated. Everything else is gone.
Got everything I need right here.
You look around and you feel, the first thing you feel is cold. Cold, blowing wind. The wind is almost howling around you. You look around and off in the distance you can see, well, I say the distance, about, you would guess about 20 feet away from you, you can see what looks to be a mountainside. If you are where Herb would be, you would see sort of the mountainside here where I am, about 20 feet away, and you see various sort of wooden bits of fencing with gaps in between them.
Am I outside?
You are outside, and you look around and you see, you're confused at first by what you see, but then it makes sense. You find yourself on the middle of a large spire platform, like a flat
I was
topped.
going to say pyre.
No.
Oh, shit.
No, not a spire. It's a
At least you got your clothes.
it's a large, very flat-topped sort of platform, essentially, of rock jutting up from high, from you are far, far above the ground. You sort of, the thing is about a 15-foot radius or so. So there's a decent amount of space, and you see your companions are also all on this platform, unconscious. And
Wooden structure. That was a rock. you said?
Stone. It's stone.
Like
It's
natural.
Natural, yes, because you look over the edge and you see a drop. Basically, a very sheer drop, some 200 feet to the ground.
It's like an Isengard situation, except it's sort of Rick,
The Tower of Orthanc, yeah.
Orthanc.
It's and you look around and you see you can see individuals on the mountainside moving back and forth. You can see a few structures. You can see that the mountain sort of you can see on your left. You can see sort of what looks to be some sort of again more wooden fencing on a path towards leading downwards. The path continues sort of round like so with some other structures and then curves around, going up in a direction that you can't see, but sort of curving round and going higher up.
This is on the mountain that's off in the distance.
Yes, that's about.
Can I look down and see how we might have got up here?
You look down. You don't know.
Can I see the ground?
Yes, it's
It's just grass and
snow, and you can also see some trees far below.
But it looks like on that mountainside there's some sort of civilization. 'Cause
Yes.
There's fences and stuff.
Yes. You also look across to your right, and you can see two more of these platforms, some 20, 30 feet away from you.
There's no like bones or remains or anything on there, is there? 'Cause
No.
I seem to remember something about a sacrifice to the mountain being spoken about.
Mm.
So is everyone else unconscious?
Yes, you do see, you can vaguely make out other forms on the other platforms.
Keep
It is-
Gary off the edge for us.
Are they there as well?
No, the only people on your platform are this party.
The golden sail.
Yeah, the Golden Sails. Sorry, can everyone remind me what their Constitution saving throws were, please?
21.
21,
Well,
19.
12,
4.
4 and 5.
5.
Yep. The two of you. So,
No, sorry,
I
mine was
consider
8.
going to wake up or
I
push
think, yeah.
Drakenshin off.
so you,
he'll wake up in mid-flight. So.
Yeah.
as you're sort of like taking stock of your surroundings, Damerus also wakes up.
Cool. So we're bound on this.
You're not bound,
Well, no, we're just on this like.
but you're
remote
on this
stuff.
platform with no means of escape.
Oh.
I'd like to slap Drakenshin to wake him up, but just a tiny bit too hard. Not to really hurt him, but a bit harder than necessary.
Roll a d20 for me. Just give me
2.
2. Drakenshin, you take 1 point of slapping damage.
1
And you
rebuke damage.
and it does, and you do wake up.
God!
And you
I punch him.
make an attack roll.
Not gonna hit. Strength, right?
Yeah,
So 6.
way too slow.
Yeah.
You you go to punch him, and like
Not specifically him, just whoever the fuck
No.
slapped me.
no, of course. But like you go to punch your grandfather, and it's just like your arm is just like your whole body is just you wake up and you suddenly realize you are shaking. The two of you, when you wake up, which will probably be momentarily, you both suffer a level of exhaustion
Well, I'm glad I had that fucking nap.
because of the sheer just cold and the fact that you are in such a cold environment and pretty much without clothing.
The fuck was that for? Why do you still have your fucking clothes?
Yeah, I'd like to see anyone take these from me.
Am I also in this like robe thing?
Yeah.
I guess all my stuff gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very basic rags. It's cold, but you're
Okay. Well, I guess we quietly wake everyone else up.
Yeah.
From our party.
Esther and Bella. You both eventually come to consciousness.
Do I have my pendant?
No,
So I can't cast anything.
you can't cast anything with material components.
You don't
The only things you have are these rags.
Are there any pebbles or stones on the top?
No.
Can I look up into the sky and make sure there's not like a dragon circling, anything that might be coming to eat us?
Make a perception check.
16.
What the
16.
fuck happened?
Oh, well, it was bad. You were asleep.
I know!
We-
Then I woke up and I got hit, and then I was here.
Well, long story, medium length. There was a cave-in.
Girion sold us out.
Girion sold
Ah,
us out.
damn.
To the
Fucking-
druids.
And the fucking druid father is here.
Yes.
Ah, we should have killed that bastard.
Yes.
I told you so.
Shut up.
Yes.
Herb, looking up in the sky, it's quite cloudy and cold, but you don't see anything out of the ordinary, and you don't see any, ominous storm clouds or anything.
I suggest we get down as quickly as possible because there was a mention of a sacrifice.
Mhm.
Yes, this feels very sacrificial.
Well, is there a ladder or something?
Yes, then we're going to go and look for our stuff, right?
Why
'Cause
don't we
I
all-
need my blades back.
I
don't we
need
tie
my
all
bow,
our-
I need the bright wine, I need...
Why don't we all strip off, tie all our clothes together, lovely little rope.
I'm already feckin' cold.
Alright, stay up here then.
I would again just reiterate, it is a sheer 200-foot drop.
Vela, can you fly us down?
I cannot fly. Not yet.
So I go over to look to the edge.
Mechanically speaking.
Obviously there's gaps
Giant
in
It's
there.
not
Spider
for
web?
Yes.
another
So I'd like to
couple
go
of
around
levels.
and just check if there's anything that looks like
What?
going down,
Some giant
shit.
spider.
If there's anything
Yeah.
that, like,
I think that makes
because
sense.
it's stone, if there's any handholds
That's what I was looking
or
for.
holes
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you
one
could
line, one at a
risk a
time.
climb.
Yeah.
Make an investigation check, please.
And I have disadvantage,
Yes.
right?
Already.
Yes, correct.
Two smart ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. So it was 17, and then it was
We got
6.
us into.
18.
Where did it
So
went?
it's fine. You're just looking around and you're just like, oh, fuck, that's high. And it's and you're just, between the shivering and like the fact that, fear of heights or no fear of heights, that's a long way down, and that's very intimidating. You do not see anything. Herb, you're looking around. Death is an old friend for you by now. You're not afraid of this, and
Quite impressed that I woke up from that.
yeah, and you look around and it's like almost looks as if it's been shaved, as if it is, the rock is just sheer. Just there is no sense of erosion or sense of handholds or footholds or anything like that.
Okay, so the bad news is there's no way to get down, but the good news is we've got nothing left to live for. And he flops down and just like...
No, wait! I can turn into a giant spider and can carry us, maybe.
Can a spider
Sweet.
climb
Might take
on
a
that
while.
sheer rock face?
It's a spider. I would hope so.
Um,
Right, you figured that one out, and I lie down next to Granda.
Can you turn
I
into a
don't know
giant
if I,
spider?
that's what I'm trying to figure out. It's not
What's
in
the challenge
PHP.
rate?
What's the,
It's not in PHP.
What's the challenge?
I'll look it up.
Yeah.
Challenge
It's
rating of
not-
a giant
What,
spider
the
is
giant
1.
spider?
Challenge rating of a giant spider is 1. I know that for sure.
Then no. So your circle the
Oh,
shepherd.
it is in here. No, I can't.
No.
I can. Wait, no, I can't. Sorry.
Turn to a small spider. I can get down.
To just a spider? No?
Wake me when we die.
I don't. Yeah.
Esther goes and sits next to Herb.
He's lying down. I'm on the other side of him.
We had a good run.
Yeah.
Still can't
Who's
lose
gonna
that
jump
bastard
first?
sold us out. I'm quite tempted.
I'll go. I'm cold anyway.
No, don't.
Yeah, I agree. You should go.
I think you should go first because you could do some great somersaults. I'd like to watch.
Herb sort of stands and looks at the edge and looks down. Sort of limpers up.
No.
At this point,
After half the party, you've committed suicide. Jumping up on top of the cliff.
So what happened? Well, he put us on the top of a cliff face. At less than a minute in, we were jumping off.
But we did some badass somersaults, so
at this point, I would say, I believe you two have the same passive perception, don't you, or similar. What is
Mine's 13.
13?
13.
15.
Yeah, no, you two I know are good. Mr. Observer 9. Yeah. So, Drake, you're just,
Shivering and trying to stop him jumping off the edge.
yeah, but the rest of you, notice something out on the main cliffside. You notice several things. Obviously, there are these sort of wooden wooden fencings, and you can also see some what look to be some very basic structures made of wood or carved out of stone. Also on this cliffside, of what nature you're not entirely certain, but small one-story structures scattered throughout the place along the cliffside. And you notice, coming down from around that bend in the mountain off towards your right, you can see what looks to be a procession. You see many different. You see many different.
Elephants on parade.
Yes. You see many different
kinds of machines and factories of machines and then.
So they can make a lot of products real fast. You see a variety of dwarves.
Big
Some.
small ones.
Some
as big as your head.
sneezing.
Stop it! You're already in a bad situation. I will destroy you.
So we
You can try!
Fine. A white dragon turns up. You're all dead.
Well, I've got my next character planned
the
already.
platform well, is it cut into the mountainside, or is it like a needle of stone separate from everything else?
Needle of stone separate from everything else. Multiple ones of them.
How far are we from the next?
About 20-30 feet.
Okay.
Hello!
To the other needle, not to the procession.
Okay.
It's me, Herb!
No, they're definitely not going to answer.
Herb, is that you? And you can
It's
just
me, Herb!
you can just make out what looks to be
Burden.
Burden on the other.
Is
on the-
Shauna there with you?
Yes, she's.
It's quite convenient they split us this way.
Is that prick Girion over there?
Sadly not. Or I'd have kicked him off myself. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I got you all into this mess.
You don't need to be sorry, Burden. I think we just need to try and figure a way down from up here. And then we'll kick Girion in the balls.
Well, judging by the moon and the sun,
Session, right.
them over there, no fucking clue.
Oh.
Sorry, what was your?
No, I was just saying.
Asking me
how
how
much
time.
time do you think we have?
Not
So that group of
Anyway.
people.
So okay, right. So okay.
If I meditate for about 4 hours, I can then cast some magic that can help a couple of us get down.
Alright then.
Kind
we'll
of
just
like
distract them for
spiders.
us.
Climb
Right,
them.
so-
I can do a dance.
Okay, so
Yeah?
so at this point, this procession of figures has come down from this sort of continuing area around the side of the mountain off to your guys' right, and there is, I point like this shouting between the pillars. It's just about possible, but the wind is very strong, and it almost set like it's. Burden's voice is sort of like fluctuating in volume. Sometimes it sounds like it's from much further away, sometimes much closer. And you watch this procession of dwarves. And on the pillar on the very far left, on the very far right from your guys' perspective, you guys being on the far left and pillar, Burden and Shana being on the middle one. You see in between sort of the two bits of fence, or sort of palisade, so to speak, between this pillar, you see a long, huge plank rising up above the palisade. This plank is then lowered into position. It moves with, for such a large plank, it moves with surprising steadiness. This appears to be a very practiced method of movement. The plank lands on that pillar, and you hear a voice, magically amplified by some sort of unknown means, that rings out, almost like, think sort of, again, keeping with the Isengard theme, sort of Saruman in the Misty Mountains, like just booming throughout and echoing throughout these mountains. Anyone who wants to make a perception check, please.
I'm still exhausted.
Yes, some trick those.
That's fine. We'll just figure a check.
7.
2.
16.
10. Well, 20. Vela and Ester, you can just about make out the source of this voice. You see a figure, dwarven, male apparently, standing just sort of in the sort of the gap, just sort of at the start of, sort of just, a step onto this large plank. This dwarven figure is completely hairless, is wearing very different garb to all the other druids that you've seen. Dressed in sort of grey and black speckled robes that just reach down, covering most all of his body. The two of you can also, from this distance, Ester, you can just about make out, it's only very brief, as he looks very briefly, sort of turning his head very slowly. His eyes are wide, bulging, unblinking, almost like a snake. And you, Ester, can just make out for a brief instant. You can see his eyes are bloodshot, similar to the effects that you saw in the druidic father back at the camp. This voice coming from this dwarven individual booms out across the mountainside, and he says, "Prisoners, rejoice and be glad, for you all have been chosen as a sacrifice to something greater than yourselves, for a greater purpose and a greater power than any of you will ever comprehend. Rejoice in your sacrifice. Come to me. Come of your own volition. And you will all experience a joy like no other." He points out across the wooden plank towards an individual. "You, bring her to me now." She points at an individual, and this individual, you can just about sort of hear a, no, I don't want to, no, come to me now." You watch as sort of just energy flies out from this dwarf's hand. And you hear, no. You watch as a young dwarven girl, not one you recognize, begins to walk, apparently of her own volition, just out across this long wooden plank. No trepidation, no sense of fear, no sort of looking over the edge, just walking very straight along the straight and narrow. Just as she reaches the other end, she sort of, you see her shake her head, and she's like, "Wait, no, I don't," and then as she does this, sort of like trying to move back, another couple of dwarven individuals dressed in the garb of druids grab her, pull her forward. You hear just screams of defiance, of fear, of terror. The plank is pulled up again. It's a very strange thing to see. This, you would imagine, that it would sort of fall down a bit and it would be pulled, but no, it's pulled up, back, like so. And you just hear the echoing screams of this woman dying away as she is taken back around this corner and up somewhere else. The voice comes again. "Take this time, prisoners. take this time to consider your lives and consider what greatness awaits you. For in the end, you will all be sacrificed for the greater purpose. The dwarf turns away, walks back up around with his procession in tow.
He likes the sound of his own voice.
A little bit, yeah.
Yes. We need to get out of here.
Well,
I'm going to start meditating.
Okay.
See whether that happens. Do we get 4 hours? Who knows?
Who knows? We might do.
I would say at this point it's probably about Vela and or anyone who is proficient in it make a nature check.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. 21.
21. Judging by the position of the sun, it is just about like it's a fairly cloudy day, but it is possible to tell somewhat. You can hear. You would guess it's probably about 4 in the afternoon.
Okay.
The sun is going down is heading down over to your left. And as you sort of look off in that direction, you can see the stretching your Munrus range going away to the west. Yep.
Cool.
Well, you'll meditate. So, I mean, that's not good, right?
No,
Oh,
not
amazing.
And there's no way down, and we got nothing here. So if Vela can't pull off her magical trick, the only thing I can think of is when they lower the plank for us, we just run together and try and storm them and hope one of us
Yes,
can
well,
get.
I still have a relative trump card up my sleeve. I can still have my 1 a day cast. I can summon that flaming blade again.
I mean, you're welcome to go first. I'm not saying that.
Well, no, I'm not. Just if we do have to rush them, at least we're not all rushing them entirely unarmed.
So yeah. Well, my granddad is fine.
Well, yes, he is a weapon.
Exactly. But I'm pretty useless unless we can get me a bow or a sword or something.
Yes.
You can do some, but it won't be enough against those numbers.
No.
How big are the fence posts?
Fairly tall. It's tricky to tell. You would guess 8 to 10 feet.
Are they like bolted into the rock?
It's hard to tell from this distance. They're sort of imagine sort of like a broken palisade wall, and in fact, looking at it now, you can see that the gaps in these palisade fences are where the planks would go, so to speak.
Well, I don't think we've got much else on.
No. But
Yeah.
we're kind of fucked. Yes, we're at a bit of a loss. We might have something in a few hours, maybe, if we have a few hours. If not, it's been great travelling with you, I suppose, and we're going to try and bum rush them if they try and take us.
Yeah, you too.
Hopefully we'll see you in a few hours. Vela's trying to magic something up.
When Vela wakes up.
Do you need your druidic focus for that, whatever you want to come up?
No.
Good.
When
Hey, Esther,
Yes.
do us a favour. Say a prayer for us.
I will. You probably
Thank you.
won't hear me from there, though. I'm quite quiet.
It's alright. Thank you.
Ester starts throwing bones.
What bones?
Oh, starts throwing invisible bones. Fake bones.
Going about the motions.
Damerus, give me your arm.
Oh no!
Isn't that usually knuckle bones? Oh yes, Damerus. Thanks for reminding me.
I feel like you could have done it after the arm.
Well, now I've got to make them match. So,
When Bella wakes up, she says she can take herself and one other over there.
But she said she could do something. She's
Yes.
We could lower, if she can get up there, lower the plank.
hey, if we can lower the plank, we're all fine. It's just if we can get there and not.
And then I think it's just a case of
If we
trying
take
to.
2 others, it should be useful.
We should try and.
Beat the shit out of anyone you can summon a sword like.
Well, it's only 10 minutes.
I'd stop him.
Yes.
And hopefully unexpected.
Yes, I hope so.
5 minutes later, I have come for you! Oh, bollocks.
My tea is ready.
Do need our equipment though. Well, I need those swords before we leave this place.
Well, as if they took them, they might have just left them on the fucking worm rider.
Well, if they took my scabbards, I was wearing them, so hopefully they did bring them. If not, then I will be going back to the worm rider to recover them.
time passes.
This is a boring game of horse.
Rock. No.
I spy.
You attempt to pass the time to lift your spirits as best you can, but you are all feeling the severity of the situation.
How much time passed? Just for...
So at this point, the sun, now at this point, some 4 hours later, has set. It is evening. Around about at sunset sort of time, you could all hear distant screaming, and then silence. The sun has dipped below the western horizon. It's now night. You can see in the cliffside village there are some torches lit. Vela, your 4 hours completes.
I no longer exhausted.
Yeah, that's it.
Does that also apply to exhaustion? The 4 hours thing?
I think so. So you've got to take a long rest.
It's,
Oh, yeah,
it's
sure.
basically a long rest.
Yeah, no, cool. I wasn't doubting you, I was just curious. So, Vela, yes, you are no longer exhausted.
Cool.
You are still freezing, but you are no longer exhausted.
That's fair.
Yeah, you're all pretty damn cold.
Damerus is hungover. That's why he's exhausted.
Yes. That's exactly why I'm exhausted.
It's been a bad day for you, isn't it?
Oh, honestly, Esther, I'll chalk this up to one of the worst, I'd say.
I'm just checking. I need to. I'm just putting all the spells. and
Cool,
things together.
no worries, sorry. Good
Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be with you in a second.
Granddad,
Aye.
you ever been anywhere like this before?
I sort of rack my memory to try and place if I've been here before.
This place specifically.
Yeah, somewhere like this.
Make an intelligence check.
Six.
Nothing comes to you.
Don't think so. But what the fuck do I know?
Shame. He's going to ask you how you got out last time.
Actually, I do need to check a DM's ruling on something. Like, can I cast my druidic magic? Given that we don't really have anything.
Do you have material?
Isn't this an Eladrin thing?
Mm-mm.
It isn't.
What's the spell?
Spider clan.
What does it look like? Yes, an ants.
Slow?
Yeah.
What's the rock?
Hang on.
These things.
A drop of bitumen and a spider. Nope.
You have no material components, I'm afraid.
What
But
does
you're
Vela normally
miss-
uses.
Sorry.
What does Vela normally use to cast spells?
A druidic focus.
It's like an arcane focus. It takes
What is
place.
it?
Which I'm not even really sure we ever really established for me, but
No, but
Normally it's like a sprig or like a twig or something, or a fang or
I think that's
whatever.
probably something to do with my quarterstaff.
yeah.
Well,
Your misty
good thing
step
I
is based,
wasted that.
Yeah, but your misty step will actually.
based on
Yeah, your face step.
your face step. Yeah.
Could you
That's what I-
across?
Well, yeah.
And then put the plank down.
Is it?
That would be helpful.
What's the distance though?
For 20 feet, isn't it?
That is the distance of the gap between you and the mountainside.
I need to get to the plank, right? There's 2. That's more than 30 feet, isn't it?
So the you're not sure where the plank is, but the distance between you and the mountainside is about 20 feet.
So you can missy step onto the side.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find the plank.
Yeah.
Can you take
Anything
any
goes
on
wrong,
with
you can
I
just
can't.
transform into a
I
spider.
thought so. I hadn't factored in the fact that I wouldn't be able to. Yeah.
And you
So I was
send
gonna
someone
just
else?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
Because
If
you could
someone
send
else
the
is
man
gonna
who's
go.
trained in unarmed combat.
It's probably more useful. I can. Yeah, because I'm still in. I mean, I could have changed mode, but I'm still in spring, so I can send you instead.
Yeah. So we go.
Yeah.
Okay, you're attempting to send Herb across.
Yeah.
Vela,
Oh
make a wisdom check for me, please.
Which dice is going to be friendly today?
None.
no.
15.
15. You walk over to Herb, and you touch him on the shoulder, focusing on the gap between those palisades. And you touch him on the shoulder and go through the sort of just focus. It's an odd sensation. You're focusing on a home you can't remember. Focusing on memories that are there but are not at the same time. You touch Herb on the shoulder and you immediately feel a just sensation of pain and cold, almost sort of coming up from your feet all the way up into your body, racket, and like you have to you're almost too shocked to cry out in pain, but you shut your eyes tight. There is that familiar flash, Herb, around you of yellow and green light and that smell of flowers. Vela, you fall to your knees in pain. The three of you saw, you're not exactly sure what, some sort of flash of some sort of hitherto unseen rune in the surface of this pillar. Vela, you fall to your knees in great pain. You take no damage,
Okay.
but you are just you are winded basically for the next few minutes or so. Herb,
Rush over just like, right?
you emerge on the other side. You sort of stop, look around behind you instinctively. You can see the others just about. You can make out their vague shadows because it is very dark. There is no light on the.
Try as quiet as possible and look around if there's anyone around on this side.
First of all, make a stealth check, please.
This is naturally stealthy. What does that mean?
So naturally stealthy means that you can hide even if you're obscured only by a creature larger than yourself. So
Okay.
because we're small, like in a crowd and stuff, you can hide behind a human.
16 stealth.
Okay. And you said you want to make a perception check.
Yeah, to see if there's anyone else.
Go ahead.
Unnatural 20.
Okay.
Not a 20.
You look around, and you look around. You sort of off to your left. You can see multiple. Let's see. You see multiple buildings. You see one directly in front of you, and two off to your left. One like the one directly in front of you, and one off to your left, which are on the rock face, against the rock face wooden structures, and another one to the right of that. To the right of you, sorry. So 1, 2, 3, and one opposite the one on your left, near the cliff edge. To your left, you see further palisades, which you can just make out. There are sort of torches in sconces, and you can see two dwarven figures looking out of this on the other side of this gate, looking out
Towards the pillars.
Away from the pillars. So
They've
if
got their back to me, basically.
yes, and you sort of instinctively sort of like run forward and sort of like take shelter behind one of these structures, and you you hear in Dwarven, this would be like, did you see something? Did you hear something? Sorry. Nah. Yeah.
Do I see any big poles? Big planks?
So you look off, sort of you're on the left-hand side of that first building in front of you. You sort of peer around the other side, and you see standing against the wall of the third building is one of these large, very tall planks. It is some 20 feet tall and looks to be very heavy.
Well, good.
You got this.
I got to cross the space with guards to get to it, do I?
No, you don't see any other individuals around at this point.
Okay. I'd like to stealthily head over to the plank.
Okay. You're able to do so.
That'll go well. Don't have any strength.
What's your passive perception?
13.
Okay. You make your way forward towards this plank, and you can see that these wooden buildings, they kind of have like wooden steps leading up towards them, and they are slightly off the stone on like very small stilts. You walk over to the plank. It is 6 times your height, or so, and at this point, as you're walking up towards it, you feel a hand comes up over your mouth. You are pushed to the floor, and you hear a voice in your ear in Dwarvish say, "It's alright. I'm helping you." You sort of, like, you feel yourself being sort of pushed forward underneath this third hut. You sense this figure sort of, feel the force lessen off you, and you crawl, you see this figure crawl forward. You look to your left, and you see a familiar face. You see the face of the young druidic girl.
Sorry, I just saw your big side.
The daughter who you fought previously and left in the hole.
She saw the light, she saw the
God damn.
I'll be upon you.
And she just sort of like, and she just holds a finger to her lips. A minute or so goes past, and you hear voices coming from around the corner, leading up towards the area where they took the young woman. A group of patrolling dwarves walks towards the front gate. You vaguely hear what sounds like conversation. Walks back. She waits. Turns to you. Goes. She puts a hand to herself and says, "Sam." There's not much time. They took your things in here. It sort of points up to the building you're currently hiding underneath. She points to the large plank. You go now. We must be quick.
Get stuff. Plank.
Yes. So, at this point, you sort of crawl out from underneath the hut, listening out for these footsteps of this patrol. You watch as she transforms into a large ape-like creature. She grabs the plank and starts walking over towards your previous pillar.
I look as quietly and quickly, without hesitation, go up into the hut.
Make another stealth check for me, please.
16.
16. You crawl out from underneath the hut, stand up. You make your way up and sort of up the steps and into this hut, and it's very small. It's like one room. You can see there are a variety of bits and pieces stored here. You can see a few just very simple sacks on the floor. You take a quick look. You find one which has apparently your stuff in it. You see your clothes. You see weapons and other. You don't see weapons or armor, but you do see smaller things. Healing potions. What looks to be a couple of you think you see Vela's symbol and Ester's holy symbol. A lot of sort of small items. You do no.
You're just all rejected.
Yeah. No, they don't keep your you don't see your weapons or armor here.
Anywhere here?
No.
Is there any other sacks? I want to look through some others to see if there's any other good shit.
Make an investigation check. 6. The only other things you see, like you sort of take a brief look inside the other sacks and you see just sort of what looks to be various clothes and the like.
Personal effects and stuff.
Yeah. But you do see on the some very makeshift shelves, you do see what looks to be a sort of like a mason jar of some sort of odd thick green substance.
I'll grab
It looks familiar.
Is it? From where?
From you remember the chest that you destroyed back in the cave?
Yeah. I put that in the sack.
Okay,
I take the sack.
Yeah, I would say you're sort of looking around, you sort of grab one of the jars, and you sort of think, do I want to grab more? But then, like, you sort of think you hear footsteps, and you're like, no, and you sort of...
Let's take the sack back underneath the hut, if possible.
Okay.
Hide it, stow it under there.
Okay, that's easy enough to do. So you stow the thing. You can make out the shadow of San lowering the plank onto the other side. Okay. So at this point, multiple things happen. Herb, you are in the process of stashing the goods underneath this hut. The four of you sort of trying to keep as best watch as you can. Vela and Damerus, you can just about make out Herb moving on the other side. Drake and Ester, it's much harder for you with your lack of dark vision.
Pretty sure there's still a mountain there.
Yeah. But a few minutes go by, and then you eventually see again this large shadow of this enormous plank, and you're like, really? Herb's picking that, and then as it lowers into place, you can see, you two in particular, can see this ape-like creature, and it is gesturing for you.
We did it! Did you look at that? The old man did it!
Maybe not him, but yes, quietly and quickly, let's...
You go first, Mr. Franklin.
Yes.
Everyone make a stealth check, please. Those who are exhausted.
That'll do.
Natural 20.
Okay.
Natural 20. Natural 20.
What, you two?
Yeah.
Esther, you too?
Oh, no.
Three.
Celebrating the success of others, okay. Well, I failed with 9.
9?
21.
8. Okay. So,
You're going first as well.
yeah, what's the marching order?
I'm last.
I'm
I
first.
would be.
I'll go second.
Damerus, Vela, Esther, Drake. Okay, that's the marching order. So, as this is also happening, Now, as this is also
Trying to go,
what are you doing over there? Wait, no, they are escaping. Take us too. No, no, the others, everyone else appears to be asleep or has not noticed this. However, the two guards at the front of the gates have turned around, and they are like, wait, what? And they're starting to make their way towards.
can I grab the mason jar and hurl it at one of their heads?
Make yes, beautiful. Very good. Make a dexterity attack roll, please.
So just
Well, this is strength. You're throwing it. I'd say.
so accurately.
I suppose you can. You don't really. Well,
A javelin you can use as either strength or dex. It's your choice. Same with hand axe. Throwing weapons, you can use either.
some thrown weapons. I think. Anyway, doesn't matter. Fine. Make a dex check. 14. Okay. So.
Which is providing, it's not like a super serum for them. It just doesn't.
Well.
Exactly. Goodbye, gorilla. Goodbye, halfling.
Oh dear.
The good friend Ester.
You chose the gamma radiation. So this. So multiple things happen at once. The guards sort of coming up like suspicious, like, wait, what's going like? And they can see, the fact that they see one of their own, essentially, they assume, like doing this is like, wait, hang on, what is this? And then the
Bastards.
Can you roll for me, Herb, please? 2d8.
8. 4.
12. Okay.
It doesn't break, it just hits him.
Yeah. It's really cool.
What's this job made of?
Mason.
Okay.
Stone.
So as this happens, so two things happen at once. Herb, this jar flies forward and it lands at the feet of these two dwarven individuals. The oozy gelatinous liquid flies up into their faces, and they immediately sort of clutch at their faces in pain, both taking the appropriate 12 points of damage, and then
Rolling 12 times inside.
You take 500.
You should destroy your faces, not just wipe it off.
So, and then you also see the ape run forward, and almost at the same time as this liquid lands in front of the face, the ape punches one of the dwarven guards in the face, and he flies backwards, like against the cliff face, like falling down, like down against the slumping against the rock. But she swings wide above the other one. I will say that given sort of like the fact that he's trying to wipe this liquid off his face, the rest of you have one action before he's going to start screaming.
Right.
One.
Get your holy symbols here.
Are we across the black? Where are we?
You're now. I will say, Damerus, you now emerge, and you've managed to get across the plank. You see this ape like punching. You see one guard slumped against the wall, and this other guy with this sap like covering his face.
Shut him the fuck
I
up.
cast Calm Emotions.
Are you able to do so?
Yes.
Somatic and
Verbal.
verbal? Very well.
Ester for the
Each
win.
humanoid in a 20-foot radius sphere must make a charisma saving throw. Each creature can choose to fail the save. If they fail the save, blah 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 blah, we make them indifferent about creatures of our choice. That it is hostile towards.
Sweet. I hate you. Actually, you're right.
DC of.
Oh, that's 13.
I think
So
You think I
it's you sort of your hand goes out and you attempt to calm this creature's emotion. It's still, but you see it's still thrashing about. It's managed to get more and more of the muck off its face. Some still covering it. No, it's still thrashing about wildly.
I sprint towards it just to try and like fall and tackle him into the snow.
Make an athletics check.
It's not gonna go well.
There's 2 of them, right?
One of them.
Only one of the other ones. Gorilla.
Okay.
7.
7. You well.
You have disadvantage.
Yeah, I'm still exhausted. I've been exhausted for like 2 days.
Oh, no.
My stealth was actually 17. I forgot I was this.
So noted. No, he's just sort of like, again, he can't really sort of, it's more just sort of by luck than judgment at this stage. He's just like, and he's like, you try to tackle him, but then he sort of nudges you, and you're like, whoa, 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 and you're just, you didn't sort of really go at it full pelt, because you're very aware of the cliff on your left-hand side.
Yeah.
Bella, Drake.
That was me, yeah.
If I can do the same, I would do the same. If I can get there in time to run at him and jump on him.
Go ahead and try. Make an athletics check with disadvantage. Because you are exhausted over it.
Yes. Fortunately, 6. So I think we can all agree that was a success.
Cool. Oh, man. Yeah, no, this guy's rolling very well. Again, you're just you've been lying down for quite a few hours, and
Still shivering.
he's practically almost got all of the sap off his face. Vela, this is your
Okay.
your last chance before he's going to start screaming.
Are we on natural ground? Like, could I cast Entangle, or is that not an option here?
You are on Stony Mountain,
Okay.
So
No, that's fine. It probably makes more sense.
so there is not
Let
really.
me try and do the same tackle you guys are doing.
Make an athletics check.
That was one of the
Cool.
strongest people in the party.
Fuck's sake.
I've got 12. Oh.
8. Damn.
Ha.
Huh? In my favour, huh?
So Vela, you watch as this guy is just sort of like wiping this disgusting sap of his face, trying to get it off him. Damerus and Drake, you are just both so tired, and you try and like Vela, you sort of see him open his mouth, and then you just like tackle him to the ground, hand over his face. He got a natural 1. So I'm rolled incredibly well, and you are now sort of just on top of him.
Don't you say a word.
Make an intimidation check.
Can I quickly go and give Esther and Avella their appropriate foci?
Yes, I will see.
18.
18. He's just like,
Take your small to medium-sized chip.
he is, Vela, he is like, he's just eyes wide on top of, like,
So I turn around to the large ape and to kind of say, still relatively talking hushed, thank you. We need to save some other people. Can you move the plank for me to the next one?
I translate into Dwarven.
As this happens, you all start hearing from some of the nearby huts the sound of like stirring individuals.
We died.
She, at this point, the ape, in sort of hearing this response, just points to the gates.
Like, leave, get out.
Pretty much.
We can't leave to
We
Clark.
can't leave them.
Please, just get down. We'll deal with the guards.
I start dragging the unconscious guard under the hut.
I
I'll
help.
get them out of the way.
Okay, okay.
Oh, I
Just
can
push them off the edge.
cast. I can do this now.
Yeah.
You can cast what you want.
Yeah. Okay. Does someone want to help me? And I can turn into something, and then I can cast spider climb on someone so that they can come up with me.
Okay.
basically.
Okay, first of all, Drake, make a persuasion check.
Well, it's not going well. Oh, come on, really? 15 and a 3.
No.
So that will be a grand 5. I am shivering. Please, can we say my prayers?
So, as this happens, you can hear the sound of individuals stirring from inside. Herb, you are very aware of that patrol that was coming back previously, and the ape just sort of looks at you, sort of is looking around. Her eyes lock on you, Bella, for like longer than the rest. She just shakes her head and starts just like making a break for the gates.
Bella, can you change into one of those things?
No.
You have to go. The guards are coming now. We can't be burdened.
We can come back for
Or
them.
we can die.
Let's come back for them. Let's go.
We don't even have weapons, boy.
We'll come back.
Herb grabs him by the shoulder, Scruffers now sort of propels him towards the gate and starts running.
Can I have everyone make a stealth check, please?
Wailing.
You're even worse than I am.
5.
7.
11.
Natural 1. Sorry.
Oh boy.
Okay. So
Sorry, team.
at this
Always
point,
just have to fight them anyway, isn't it?
so at this point, you start making.
So, just for my understanding,
Yes.
huts kind of where we are, we're outside of all the huts because you've got the thing and where we conquered. The guards are coming from where? And where is the main gate that we're trying to run?
So if your pillar that you just came from is behind you,
Mm-hmm.
the guards are coming from that direction.
Yeah.
The gates are over here, and the huts are around this sort of area.
Okay.
So you all begin to make a break for the main gates, and you're all sort of like Herb, you mentioned that you just grabbed Drakkensian, who is just struggling, but you're used to finagling him, and you just make a break for the gates. Ester, Damerus, just tired and shaking and shivering from cold, you just like make a run for it. Vela, you look back, look up, and just like in a moment of confusion, and then you make a break for the gates, and then you hear from behind you an incredibly loud voice shouting in Dwarven, which Herb, you hear as "Alarm! Alarm! Prisoners escaping! Everyone awake!" And that is where we will end today's episode.
Next time on MaudeWorld. That's all right. Anything you can offer us would be welcome. We don't have anything. We left it all behind.